Oh, right. So glad to. What?
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You got to look. You've been looking at the screen.
Who knows what? I was in deep thought. All of a sudden, when you spoke, I was like, oh, hello. I was actually thinking about, I have 6 hours of Zoom calls today. 6.
You got a lot of production
Possibly today. 8 if the Bible study happens tonight. So 8 hours of Zoom calls today. So what do you do when you're on a Zoom call? Like I find myself, don't pick up your phone, stay present, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's like, you just kind of, I don't know, I can't sit that long. I just can't sit for 8 hours on Zoom. It's different Zoom calls. So I'll get a break in and out of there.
You're an odd woman.
How many of y'all spend your day on Zoom calls like that? I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see if we're even being recorded.
It's been a little bit of a hot mess in the studio this morning.
Okay. We've done well. We're okay.
Well, we hope if you are the majority of the middle to the east of the country has been under this horrible frigid blast. So it sounds like Atlanta did not get quite what was expected, but
praise the Lord.
But everybody was safe and paid attention, and that's what matters. Yeah, so we hope that you guys are warming up a little bit or have not lost power. There's a lot of people who've lost power though. So anyway, we've been praying for everybody. So.
Yeah, and what we want to address.
You ready to get in now?
Yeah, let's just go. Let's just jump in. So we're gonna talk about. So on Facebook, it was interesting when all this weather stuff was going down that Glenn Burns just got attacked ruthlessly. Our beloved Glenn, I'm shouting out.
Meteorologist.
Our beloved Glenn Burns, who I grew up with. I mean, I can't say that I've.
He's an icon.
He's an icon.
I mean, he's been around
he's just a good.
Oh wow, what just happened?
Did it again, but it just is he's an icon. And
he's just the weather guy.
He's the weather guy, but all he's doing is reporting the weather, what they think's going to happen, and everybody. I mean, he said he had to block all these people.
200 and some people he had to take down and block because of.
Now, what's up with
vile,
that? People,
foul comments.
What's up with that, people? What? How?
What's that one thing I said?
What's up with that?
There was a meme that says if Jesus was around today, he'd smack you with his flip flop. He'd smack you with his flip flop.
What is it? What is it that makes somebody eviscerate violently somebody online? I mean,
because he's reporting the weather.
Because he's just reporting the weather. They don't know what it's gonna do. They're just looking at I mean, seriously, it's kind of like there was one person who goes, well, around the corner. It's like, is he supposed to predict how much snow you have in your yard and driveway and on your street? It's almost like, it's got to, come on, people.
If that was the case, then he'd be divine if he was able to get that clear of a connection.
We feel like that maybe he should be. And I, especially if I've got a golf game or something like that, or I'm going fishing, that I need him to be perfect.
It's just everything today. And you and I started on Tuesday stressing out about, do we cancel church? Do we not? I mean, that's a hard decision to make, but we think about the safety of our people. Sure. And, you've got volunteers and you've got leaders that are going to come. If the door's open, they're going to be there. Right. And so it's a heavy weight to try to figure out, do we just go online? We actually got a phone call that the building that we use, they were turning the water off, so we couldn't use the building. So that helped the decision. But, churches, it's not a light thing to decide whether or not to close your doors or not. But, there were people making comments when the church closing started coming up. Wow, really? Seriously, you closed church? It was all I could do. I know there's a Holy Spirit because he totally kept my mouth shut. He totally kept my mouth shut. No, but I wanted to say, and this was on Random Church. I wanted to say, do you even attend? Do you even go to
regularly
church
every week?
Well, no. I mean, even do you just go, or do you just sit at home behind a screen and feel the need to drop your thoughts that need to be filtered, into a conversation? So, it's just
So what we're going to do, and
it's mentally draining,
right? So what we started thinking about was why are people so quick now?
Oh,
this was what.
No, I'm quick, just quick.
Yeah, so they're quick
to
jump in with their opinion, and they're just and it seems like this bleeds into what we're seeing on TV with our politics and everything. It's just we cannot. I mean,
Oh, it's
you've got
everything right now.
politicians, you've got everybody just off unhinged, literally unhinged.
And we'll never get anywhere like that.
And no, we're not going to get anywhere like that. But
No.
we started thinking about, okay, well, so how do we break that down within our personal lives first? I mean,
because that's where
it's where it starts is in our personal lives, and then it bleeds out into the streets.
Right.
And so as Christians, as believers, we believe Christ tells us, through the Holy Spirit, how to do that. And how did Jesus resolve conflict? And, we do see Jesus in a lot of ways. I mean, especially with Peter, I mean, I first think about how many times. Remember, forgiveness is a great pathway to conflict resolution.
But see, we don't. Okay, so conflict resolution starts with forgiveness, and that's the building block that's just not there right now.
So that's the gospel.
They
so
just
that's
cut
the
people
whole gospel.
off. You just cut them off.
Right. That's the only reason Jesus. He came to forgive. He came to redeem, forgive, redeem, restore, and then allow us to live a new life physically in this life, and then to be with God because we have been redeemed and made new. Now there's no enmity between because of sin with our God, who now wipes that slate clean and forgives. It's grace. And so there is a place where there is no conflict now between us and our Creator, our Lord, our God. And so, but that begins with forgiveness. And so there is no place that I see in our world today where forgiveness is being even remotely something that is remotely thought about. Now,
and if you do forgive, you've got other people judging the fact that you forgave.
Right.
I mean, I've seen that. I've seen people say, I've forgiven, and then people are judging the heart of that person. Is that heart worthy, or is it true, or is it fake? And it's like, wow, where are we gonna where are we gonna start to cross the line here a little bit?
I do not admit that I hold any sort of secret key to forgiveness, because I absolutely suck at it. So I mean, it's not something. If you've been hurt bad enough, forgiveness is hard. But it's still possible. Paul says in Romans 12:18, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with one another. And that involves peace, always. Peace is not a sweeping under the rug. Peace is not just turning a blind eye. Peace is not just, it's not just ignoring the issues that you have with other people. Okay? It's none of those things. Peace comes when you decide to try to dig in with another person, resolve what's going on. All right? And peace then is something that's restored between both people when you resolve conflict in that way, when you really truly resolve conflict. Because if one person only has peace, then the other person is still left feeling unheard, whatever, okay? They're still have this angst or unresolved feeling in their heart. And, both people need to go back to the table and talk it out again. Okay, but this is the key thing. Peace can also come when you don't agree. At the table, nobody has the problem is with us is one side has to be right and the other side has to be wrong, and then therefore justified. That's not at all what reconciliation looks like. Reconciliation doesn't say, okay, yes, if you've done something wrong, admit you've done something wrong, but then you move on very quickly from that. Why did it happen? And you get to the bigger issues of why did it happen? How do we not let it happen again? And we move forward. But there are some places, like we've talked about this with divorce, there's two people don't like each other any longer, and they're lobbing, but they need to still do what? Reconcile. And the reconciliation when it comes to people that cannot make things work, they say, peace be with you.
Right.
Peace be with you.
Right.
I don't wish anything. We're not going to agree on this any longer.
We're not at war.
And especially if you have children.
It's not the war of the roses.
If you have children, my goodness, stop the fighting and start looking for ways in which.
Because it hurts them.
It doesn't do anything but hurt your children, and it still hurts you. if you keep going back into all the things that person did wrong or all the things that person didn't do, you live as a prisoner to the past. All right.
That's right.
And so peace frees you from the past in a lot of ways. That's so, right. But we're humans. And I mean, if you just look politically, my side's right. Look, no, we're not going to, but just think about how this spills out into the streets. My side's right, your side's wrong. That's it. No room for discussion. Just absolute hatred for the other side.
Well, and I've talked to so many people who have gotten off of social media. You and I use social media. I mean, this is a platform that we're able to get this message, hopefully, of hope out. Hopefully, we are able to get a nugget out that gets you to thinking
about
a little
Jesus,
bit.
Not about us.
Yeah, and it's all about our faith, right? Because the truth of the matter is, when the world is in chaos, which to a lot of us, it feels that way right now, that the world is in chaos. When it is in chaos, it's void of the spiritual wisdom and discernment. It's void of the spiritual life. So we're allowing the enemy to just come in and wreak havoc. And I was actually talking the other day with someone, and very dear to me. And, we were talking about, how do you combat this stuff? Like, how do you deal with it? And, it was like the Lord just put it on my heart and said, do we not believe when we say we're going to pray about it? I've heard so many people say, yeah, well, that's not doing anything about it. That right there is a problem, because if we're going to pray about it, we are doing something about it, because it means that we are going to God, who is over and in and through everything, and praying about it. But as this person and I talked about, but it's the heart of the individual. Are they going to the Lord with a clean heart, with a repentant heart, with a heart that says, Lord, forgive me, I don't understand these things, but I'm praying for peace. I'm praying for peace to come, and I don't have to be right or wrong in my thoughts. Lord, cleanse my thoughts of things that are maybe not pure or not of you. Cleanse my heart of things that maybe a seed of hatred has come into play. Open my thoughts. That's the prayer of a righteous person. Not a holy person, but a person who says, I'm a sinner, saved by grace. I'm repenting. I'm bringing my cloudy, confused heart to you to cleanse it of all things that are not of you. And then I'm praying for the one thing that we all want, the one thing that Jesus says, I leave with you. Shalom, my peace I leave with you. Yeah. So if you can't, it's not about a division, the left or the right or this or that. It's not about that. It is about the human desire for peace. And it starts in our own heart. And it starts with our communication and our prayer life with the Lord to cleanse us of things that are not of Him. So, look, I pray every time I get off of Facebook. Okay, I have to pray for a cleansing when I get off of Facebook, because I see the division just being lobbed back and forth. And I see, honestly, and if I do it, please let me know. Please let me know. Send me a private message. But I see passive-aggressive stuff all the time. And so I do have to say, Lord, cleanse me of all this and let me get my heart right with you. So I think that what you said, conflict starts first within us.
Okay, so
and Augustine says that, right? He says our spirit is restless
until it finds rest in thee.
Until it finds rest in thee.
So let's talk about that. So I know that there are very few people that have conflict with another human being. I know you're listening to this, so that's not me. It's gonna be you. You're gonna face it one day. It might not be you right now, but from what I'm seeing on Facebook, I wouldn't be your friend. From what I'm seeing on Facebook, there are billions of people in the world that are having conflict right now with another person. Matthew 7:3-5 says this. This is what Jesus says. Let's start with 1. Verse 1, do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a big log in your own? How can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get rid of the speck in your eye, when you can't even see past the log in your own? Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. All right. So first of all, and I didn't think of this, but really, a lot of the times conflict resolution starts in the mirror looking at yourself, not with a megaphone looking at somebody else.
That's right.
And, so I wasn't bright enough to think of that, but it is clever. So the mirror is so there's always something. If you got something wrong with another person, you have to first look at, okay, how did I create, how was I part of that?
Right.
What did I do to start that? Or it might be, if you're 1% of the world, you had nothing to do with it. And it was all about the other person. Now, those are certainly things that happen in the world. They've happened to me once in my life. There's always somebody else is just going to be an absolute jerk in your life, and you can claim it. We all have those people once in our life that do that.
Let it go.
Let it go. The other 99%, of the time, and unfortunately, sometimes those things are big deals. When somebody just wants to abjectly hurt you, and we've all had those people. But the other times is this, where you've contributed to the issue at hand, and you need to look yourself in the mirror. And listen, I tell you what, even if it's more than 1% and these people are just abjectly that hate you, I'm going to tell you, you can still look in the mirror and say, I have to have compassion. Where is my heart not allowing myself to have compassion, to hear, to understand that this person might have been dropped on their head 1,000 times when they grew up as a child? I have no idea what they went through, right? But for whatever reason, they're doing something to lead to this kind of behavior that wants to hurt me or hurt others. And I need compassion. It always looking at in the mirror at myself is always my first step. It has to be, because pride gets in the way. Ego gets in the way, right? All these things get in the way before we want to go to the table with another person, okay? And that's not easy to do.
Right.
Because the Holy Spirit, I promise, is going to convict you if you're willing to do that. Got an issue with somebody else? Why do I have the issue? And your first prayer needs to be, Lord, let me get the log out of my own eye first so I can see the speck in somebody else's. Now think about, what if we did that? What do I have to own? What is it that I'm, who I am and what I've said? What are my actions? What am I doing? Because I am a hypocrite. If I don't look at the log in my own eye, if I don't see how I can be a part of the problem instead of part of the solution, because you got to look, that's what my dad would always say. How you want to be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem?
And that's the work of the cross. I mean,
and that's exactly where that
right.
mirror comes in. We are so quick to pick up the megaphone and start screaming at another person. You know this better than anybody else. I mean, you got, just, and with the reason we, and so do I, but the reason people want to pick up the megaphone is because they know they got that same crap in their lives and they can't face it. They can't face their own sin. They can't face their own junk. They can't face the mistakes they've made. They're too horrified. So you know what they'd rather do? Is point the finger at somebody else and say, and then gossip and all the other things start to come in to make that other person's life a train wreck.
Yeah, I was going to say, a prayer request is not a prayer.
Yeah. So,
in a group of people, I have a prayer request. Hopefully you've taken that prayer to the Lord first, and chances are you won't need to take it to a public prayer request.
Yeah, so you got people that are just mental about this, and it's true, because it is mental in a lot of ways. I don't want people poking around in my own life, because that would hurt. That's uncomfortable. So why not make them poke around in somebody else's? Yeah, look at the speck in somebody else's life. Mm. In fact, I'll make that a daggum log jam if I can, so that the people won't notice mine. And we get away with such, we cause so many problems, and resolution never happens. Okay, so that's, I think, the first thing that I want to talk about. Self-examination, right? You have to do it. Which
is vital to the Christian walk, for sure. And I think it's hard. I think self-examination is one of the hardest things, because you can't, it's real easy to point out everybody else as the problem, but it's really difficult to look in the mirror, like you said, at yourself and say, where am I culpable? Where am I missing it? Where have I lost it? Where have I allowed my own hurt and woundedness to come into the situation?
So so there's that look in the mirror.
Right.
And then the next thing falls right into it. Once you've looked in the mirror, you have to resist how you handle that. What I mean by that is this. You have to face the person you want to reconcile with. Matthew 18:15 says, if your brother or sister sins against you, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. For some reason,
that's not happening.
We skip this vital part. We skip this also important part, and we think social media becomes the place where we want to solve our problems with another person. When I've gone through the hardest places in my life, you will go back and search my social media. Never did I ever name, personally attack. Now, I might have said some veiled stuff, like go love one another. Or I think when I was going through a tough time, I think I quoted Thumper. What did I say? It was like, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe I said that, which is still a good thought for even people that aren't evil, and doing bad things. But what is the tendency to make ourselves, why does Jesus want us to do that? Why does he want us to go to our brother first? I mean, I guess that's a question I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking
Yeah,
me.
I guess I'm asking you that question.
Well, because it's and I mean, I've had these situations over the last, I went through a really challenging time too. And, there's this tendency to think, well, if someone doesn't speak, then what's being said about them is true. But the Bible,
no response is a response.
Yeah,
though.
the Bible verse that just hung on my heart over and over again was, "Be still and let your Lord fight for you. I will fight for you." And I remember telling somebody, I said, you know what? I'm at the point now where, look, people are going to talk about me. They're going to talk about you. They're going to talk about anybody. And people can say anything, and others can believe it. And the narrative, just like telephone when you're a kid, the narrative can be completely misconstrued and changed. You have to get in a point in your life where you care about what one person thinks, and that's your Lord. And if you're good with your God, if you have a heart of repentance, you have a heart that is open, you have a heart that is surrendering, a heart that is loving, a heart that is allowing the hard wrestling to happen, then you can't worry about what other people say about you. And that's the first thing. And so that's the beginning to me. So if your brother or your sister has wronged you, you can't think about, well, what if they don't hear me? Or what if I'm upset and they don't hear what I heard? Am I right with God first? Okay? Because if I'm right with God first, then I have the wisdom and the discernment to go to that person immediately to diffuse the situation and say, hey, listen, I've had some time to think about this. And I think I may have said something that was misconstrued. Or I think I may have said something that could have been taken the wrong way. And for that, I apologize. Or maybe you've checked your heart and you're like, okay, really, no, that was kind of abrasive and rude and ugly. And I received it the way I received it because it was. So if you came to terms with that, then you go and you diffuse it right away and say, hey, look, we were together the other day and there was a comment that was made that I've been wrestling with. And it really hurt my heart. And so can I share it with you? 9 times out of 10, it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so we make it this massive ball of wax that we start perceiving all of these ideas and thoughts. And then we've made a little tiny mountain, a little tiny molehill, a massive mountain. And it feels like you can't deal with it. So my rule of thumb always is, first of all, sleep on it. If someone's offended you, if there's an issue, sleep on it. Because a lot of times, maybe it was the traffic you sat in for 5 hours trying to get somewhere.
One of the things I always do with you is I say, why don't you call that person? And you always say what to me? No, that's a face-to-face.
That's a face-to-face. No, it is.
Going, how can she sleep on it? How can she wait? Fire it off. Fire the text off. Make the phone call now. And you always say, No, that's a face-to-face. I'm like, we're not going to see him for another 2 weeks. No, that's a face-to-face. I'm
Well,
like going,
because-
it's just brilliant advice, though. It's
Well,
great
I mean,
advice.
that's some of my background, some of my education, some of my training, some of my God-given, I think, ability. It comes from my mama for sure, but is to be able to discern, because when you see someone face to face, you read other things, right? You're reading their body language, you're reading their eye contact, you're reading the room. It's a lot easier to do than on a phone call or on a text. But my point is always sleep on it. And maybe you need to
married
sleep
a
on
CIA
it for
operative.
That would have been a fun
I
life.
thought you're a CIA operative.
That would have been fun. That would have been fun.
I'm reading your
Actually,
body
my
language.
mother should have been, could have been. I mean, yeah, she definitely has it. So, but if you got to sleep on it 2 days or a week, you know, but don't let it go too long that you've created a narrative in your head that is really not true. And have the conversation and work it out. And when you do, it strengthens your relationship with that person. And so when you throw it out on social media, or you call your friends, or you send a group text, oh my gosh, I can't believe what so-and-so said about da-da-da-da-da. It gets everyone. See, here's the thing. You get 5 people in a room, okay? You really don't know what's happening with those people in the room. You don't know that this woman may have had a huge fight with her husband the night before. You don't know that this one's teenage daughter didn't say some awful, ugly things to her. You don't know if this one's dealing with a sick parent and not quite sure how that's going to work out, if they need to move closer to. You don't know what is swirling in the hearts and the heads of the people around you. And so when one person says something, it shouldn't light a match. Because a lot of times it's coming from a place of hurt, or a place of woundedness, or a place of uncertainty, or a place of fear, or a place of anxiety. We take everything so personal, and it's not personal. A lot of times none of it's personal. It is just, it's a moment where something comes out, and it's spoken out of a depth of a much greater pain, and we personalize it. We take it as us.
So when you come to
you got to go to the person and have a conversation.
So remind yourself, when you get to that table, it's not about winning.
Right.
It needs to be the right time, not the emotional time.
Right.
And you need to speak with and to that person, not about that person. All right. So there's a different way in which you handle. So those are just easy things to remember when you get to the table with somebody else. And I think this is, and we're going to just speak on this very briefly, but I think in Ephesians 4:15, it says this: instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of the body, the church. So there are a lot of people with this saying it says the truth can hurt. A lot of people go in going, okay, you're right about something. I know I'm right about some things, and I could go in to some people in the church, in the churches that I've served, and deal with some people that if I dealt with them, I could say stuff like this: bleep, 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 bleep. All right. It would be they wouldn't even be able to hear anything I said, because their behavior was so atrocious that all it could be dealt with is the truth, which would be bleep, bleep, bleep. And that's exactly the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That truth would hurt and sting. But Paul says something very different. Speak truth with what? Love. Jesus spoke truth from the cross. The truth of the cross was not, it was all about grace, but the reason he's there, the cross is screaming out, your sin is the reason I'm here. We forget that a lot of times. We just want to hear, forgive them for they know. But Jesus, in the moment he says, forgive them for they know not what they do, he's speaking the truth, but he's doing it in love. He gave his life in love and in sacrifice, because we really don't half the time realize what we're doing when we're doing things, when we're hurt out of emotional pain, out of someone injuring us. We respond, and we don't even really know why we do things to other people. It just feels good because we don't like that person. We're jealous of that person.
Sometimes it's a misunderstanding.
Well, again, and then a lot of times it's a misunderstanding, but whatever it is, we're not to respond in a way, don't repay evil with evil. we're to love each other. The truth is important, but when the truth is used as a weapon, it goes back. It gets us. It doesn't get us anywhere. Person's never going to hear that. The person's never going to respond to that. The truth has to be in love. All right, and that kind of truth without love is hard. Love without truth is hollow, kind of saying.
Right.
Real conflict resolution requires both. Okay, and when it's both, you begin to hear another person's heart. You're able to, start to make progress. Not only you make progress, I always say, look, this is as much about me as it is about you. Let's try to learn from this together. Let's try not to repeat what's happened before. And all of a sudden when you're on the same, because we're all in the same boat together, right? We're all rowing the same boat. It's just different degrees. Some people have to forgive other people a lot more, some people a lot less. Some people need to ask for forgiveness for very bad things, some for a lot less. So it doesn't matter where you're on the spectrum, you're still in the boat, okay? It's a matter of what seat you're sitting in. So I think, though, that for now, maybe conflict resolution,
I'm trying to find the Bible verse about harsh words. It's on the top of my head, but I can't think of about harsh words. But you win people over, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's not to your side. You win people over by, like you said,
grace and love and mercy and forgiveness.
The way that your words come out should be like honey, right? It should be pleasing to the soul. It should edify. It should lift one another up. You may not agree. There's a lot of things in life that we're never going to agree about. But here's someone's heart. Listen, even if you don't agree, just take the time to listen. And, if you do but don't sit on conflict resolution is a missed art form. I really, truly believe it's something we've got to start talking about again. And the Bible gives us clarity in that on how to handle conflict resolution. We're going to have conflict this side of heaven, just the way it's going to be. But how are we going to handle it? And how if we handled it with words that were dripping with grace? Yeah. If we handled it with a heart of love, if we handled it intentionally and with care, what if by doing that we won people over to Christ?
Yeah, look, man, if when I see people posting on social media, I'm like, oh God, did they really go to that person first? Maybe not. When I see pastors lobbing little Scud missiles at other for not closing your church, come on, guys. Do you really need to post that? Is that even worth a conversation with another pastor? There's just some things that don't need to be said.
Yeah, rise above it.
Look in the mirror. Guys, look in the mirror. Go to the person directly.
Because all that does is feed division.
Yeah, and speak truth and love and grace.
Right.
Do those three things. Start practicing those three things. If you can't get past number one, you're never going to.
Self-examination.
It ain't ever going to happen. And 99% of the people that we see taking it to the streets can't get past number one.
I was actually on a call yesterday, and this woman is an author, and she said, she was writing her first book, and she said, the editor said, you've got to tell the story. You can't tiptoe around the story. And if you're not ready to tell the story, then we're not ready to write the book. And she said, I had to tell the story. She said, but I had to tell the story from a place of healing versus from woundedness.
Anger and hate.
And I think that's a great reminder for all of us to remember, if we are wounded, that is not a time to tell your story. That is a time to be still, to trust that the Lord will fight for you.
Oh, yeah.
And to allow God to work in your heart and in your thoughts and strengthen you. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking this from experience. I had two choices when things really went down in my life. I could allow all of the things that were swirling because of the unspoken, because I chose to handle my personal life as my personal life, and I didn't want to vomit everything out there to protect my family. And so the narratives out there, I mean, oh my goodness, one day y'all gonna make a book because it's all gonna be in there.
One day you're gonna have to answer for it.
One day and that
on the other side of heaven, I promise
and
it's coming. Get
that
ready.
brings me peace at night, saying,
yeah.
you know
we
what?
Sleep well knowing that's gonna happen.
I know one day you and the Lord will have a conversation about this.
Yeah, you will.
And I don't have to worry about
I
it.
have no doubt.
But
I got a few to have with him, but I know you're gonna have one with him. Guaranteed. I don't know if I'll be in front of you or you'll be behind me in line, but it will happen.
Oh yeah, it'll go down.
That.
But the point. Oh, now I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought of what I was trying to say.
You were about how you were. You kept private your stuff.
No, we have to get what I was trying to say is my walk with the Lord grew when I allowed the bleeding open, gaping wounds to be healed by Him and no one else.
Yeah, there you go.
And so there had to be a moment of time, though, where I had to shut out the noise of the world and my own personal pride of saying, I can't believe someone would think that. I can't believe someone would say that. I can't believe that this manipulated this to make this the equation. I had to get out of that noise that was not productive, that was of the world, and I had to say, okay, God, you told me to sit still and to be with you, and you would fight for me. And I'm trusting that. And in that moment, it's ironic that the people that were saying all these things, in that moment, it made me stronger in my walk.
Sure.
It made me pursue God even greater. It's given me a word that I cannot wait to share with the world because it happened in the middle of that. But I'm still trying. I want to walk right through the healing, not through the woundedness. So I think that's something for us to hold on to. If you've been wounded or if something wounds your spirit, you see something on the news or someone says something, and your first instinct is to go fire that thing off on Facebook. Pause.
Yeah, don't do it.
Practice the pause.
Don't do it.
Pull back. Sit with God and be honest with Him. He can take it. Be honest with Him about what it is that has upset you so much. What it is, because productivity will come out of wisdom and discernment of sitting with your Lord first. Then when you do that, you're able to speak words that other people can receive and go, maybe I've not thought about that before. Oh, that's interesting. That's something that I haven't processed. The truth is, we live in a world right now. I was on the news the other day and I saw something and I'm like, is this true? It looks true. The article looked true. It was about CeCe Winans, I believe. And I love her. I just think she's got this incredible voice.
But
I'm researching now, trying to find out. I can't find any true source outside that it was even true. So that's the other thing that we have to battle right now is with AI and all the stuff that's out there. And I mean, it used to be where you would get in trouble if you put stuff out like that, but people just post fake stuff all the time. So we've got that process. We got to go back through and what is true. You're not going to get that just throwing it out there. You're going to get that when you spend time with the Lord. And when you handle those things that are hard, those conflicts with other people, you'll find truth when you have a conversation that's based in love and dripping with grace.
Yeah, the steps aren't hard, guys, but it's hard to put into practice.
Yeah.
So the steps are very easy. We might even do another one on this next time. So, but it's something you got to start practicing. Look in the mirror. Please look in the mirror. And when you do, go to that person and try to resolve it. If that doesn't work, take somebody else with you, as the Bible would say. The last resort is any kind of if it gets to the public part where you just can't, I go, that it's probably not even worth publicly
That's
doing
a dusting off of your sandals and moving on.
Yeah, that's something that has to be something really bad to go public with that kind of stuff. So, and speak truth in love. Just start practicing, practice. And I promise you will reconcile more and it will be better for your heart and even better for the person you're dealing with. That's right. Listen, we love you guys. Can't wait to, I promise to practice those with you today, by the way, because I know I'll need to be forgiven for something. So I will look in the mirror. I will go to you and I will say, I'm sorry.
See, when I don't say anything, That's practicing
All right.
the pause.
We love you.
That's allowing the
We love
silence
you.
to speak
All
louder.
right. We love you guys so much. Take care. We'll see you again next time. Have a great week of conflict resolution.
Ain't it grand?
Ain't it great? We'll see you again soon. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.